This week on Feel Good Friday, everyone should record their voice. There's a new world record for the mouth gape. Ew. Bats may hold the key to longevity. Cosmetic injections lead to blindness. Weed is bad for pregnant women. And people are going to be fucking in space.
Wow. Totally nailed it. Totally nailed it.
You really made it through all of that. I'm genuinely impressed.
I think my favorite part of that is how proud you get of yourself. Dude, you're kind of like, you look like Zaya when Zaya plays hide and seek, and Zaya will put the blanket in front of her face and take it down, and she's like, I did it.
Dude, that's
For people
so
that
cute.
don't know, we've decided that we're only gonna do that intro live. Fuck it, we'll do it live in one take. And if I don't get it right, then that's it. Like
That's the new thing,
That's
yeah.
the fucking new thing.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I did it. And I feel like I did it just a pubic hair short of or long of what it should have been.
Well, I mean, long or short, that's not very much.
I thought it was good.
You know?
I thought
Okay,
I would give you an 8 out of 10 on that one.
Thank you. Well, hey, listen, the first thing I said there, everyone should record their voice.
Yeah.
Guys, I read this really wonderful, neat, exciting, interesting article the other day on Artifact.
Was it cool?
It was cool. It was slick. It was neat.
Nice.
The title of the article was "Everyone Should Use Personal Voice." This sounds like a fucking iOS ad, which it maybe probably is, but it says everyone should use personal voice. It does in 15 minutes what currently takes several weeks. Okay, so personal voice.
I feel like I saw this somewhere.
It was one of the most exciting upcoming accessibility features that Apple had just announced. It's going to be dropping with iOS 17. And it is a program that within 15 minutes can make a perfect representation of your voice to be used if you say lose the use of your voice due to ALS or something like that. So we all know Stephen Hawking, one of the brightest minds of our time. He had lost the use of his voice through ALS. I believe he had ALS.
Yeah, and he was well ahead of his time because he had his voice.
He did, and here's actually
Had his voice recorded, like you could tell the voice that he was using.
No, that was no. That was not. Are you joking?
What?
You're joking, right?
That wasn't his voice.
This was not.
Medicine has not been able to cure me, so I rely on technology to help me communicate.
That actually is a
That
that's
isn't his voice.
No, that's not his voice. That's a robot voice. And that sounds like a
listen,
robot voice.
I have been
I just wanna
misled
say-
for
you motherfucker.
I just wanna say-
I've been misled for decades.
I just want to say I'm not confident on how to weigh in on this and solve this debate between the two of you on this topic because
Wait, which
because
debate? That this is his real voice?
has not been able to
Or
cure
not?
me,
Because the
so
reason
I
why
rely on-
is I could see I wouldn't have confidently said that I thought it was his voice, like Taylor confidently says. But the thing that
It's called theater.
when that was produced,
Yeah.
I mean, the recording quality sucked anyway. So like, maybe
Well, here actually-
maybe they did.
If you guys
record
do
his
want to
voice and it
know,
just sucked.
here is Stephen Hawking's real voice. And this was his real voice fairly close to the moment where in his life where he literally could no longer speak.
You wouldn't see anything special if you passed inside the black
So he
hole.
has someone close to him who can actually translate on the spot, can understand what he's saying.
But once you pass a certain critical point,
I mean, he's by that point he's well. His voice is dramatically different from what it would have been before, like his
That's right.
ALS diagnosis.
So with the loss of speech that can occur suddenly through medical conditions like ALS, there is this program or this like thing that you can do to synthesize your voice so that when you go to use that machine to speak, instead of that robotic voice, you actually have like a somewhat realistic version of your own voice. But it takes weeks and weeks to do it.
Oh,
And it is extraordinarily expensive. But so it's called voice banking. So in this article, they say, we're all familiar with the speech synthesizer used by the late Stephen Hawking. He could select words and phrases that would be spoken aloud, but in a very robotic voice. The next major development was a much more natural sounding speech like that used by Siri. But the best option for all of those who can no longer speak clearly or at all is a voice that sounds just like you. This is possible using technology known as voice banking. Your voice is recorded while you speak a bunch of phrases, and a computer system creates a voice that sounds just like yours by learning the accent, intonation, timing of your speech. Currently, voice banking takes weeks. So conventional voice banking is it requires you to speak around 1,500 phrases and can be expensive as well as very time consuming. Philip Green, who's the a director of an ALS-focused nonprofit, he told Fast Co that voice banking took him several weeks, so he did it himself. 4 years ago, when Philip Green banked his voice, he had to record 1,500 phrases for training purposes, an arduous task that took him weeks to complete. So he understands why others might avoid confronting it. He said, quote, "To be honest, you have a lot more things on your mind than, oh, I should invest time in preserving a version of my voice that I may need in 2 years or 6 months or 4 years," says Green. Team Gleason was founded by, so he's also a board member of Team Gleason. Team Gleason was founded by former New Orleans Saints player Steve Gleason following his ALS diagnosis in 2011.
This is really this is a great example of something that we've talked about a lot on like throughout the history of the show. Is when it comes to accessibility, is like techs, the implications that an accessibility feature has on like broader technology, because like you see this and you go, oh, okay, this is amazing for this accessibility function. Okay, should you lose your voice, et cetera, all the different maybe ways in which.
Guys, I already did this.
Yeah, that's Brian. That's Brian.
Brian's fucking with AI while we're trying to have a conversation.
Brian's already done that. So you do this and you have this accessibility feature, but then it's like you'll probably, I wouldn't be surprised if you're able to set your voice assistant to be yours.
Yeah.
Or
totally.
If Apple and various companies
I cloned my voice already. This is basic ass shit.
Okay, I mean that didn't sound that didn't sound that great.
What do you think it sounds like?
Because I know you did this, Bri, and you're right. You did this thing already using an AI program, but but you are someone who fucking subscribes to AI newsletters and like sits at home and like as soon as Maddie walks out the door, you pull out your dick and start jerking off to like just to the open AI fucking website logo.
Yeah.
So you're a little bit different from, say, my dad, who doesn't even fucking know what ChatGPT or fucking OpenAI is.
This is another step towards her.
And this is going to be in your phone, in your iPhone, as an application that you can just open up and in 15 minutes have what Brian's doing right now.
You think about this, like a company like
way more accessible than what is it?
This whole episode should just be us using our recorded AI voices.
That doesn't sound good.
So it sounds like shit.
So
what do you think that's gonna sound like?
No, it's gonna sound fucking incredible. Have you seen some of the?
I've already recorded mine. You want to hear it?
Have you seen some of the?
I used it. I got an early access. It sounds like this.
Have you guys seen some of the like the like parody like fake Donald Trump, Joe Biden shit? Like that sounds pretty decent. I mean,
it's
obviously fake.
This is trained on 1 minute.
Okay, Brian, it doesn't have to turn into a critique of how you cloned an AI.
No, but that's what. But you were critiquing. That's what it started that way because you said it wasn't good.
Okay,
I'm just telling you. It doesn't have to turn in.
Don't bring up anything to do with AI because Brian's an elitist.
It doesn't have to turn into you going, I can do that right now.
But you're saying that there's better. This is what they use. They use 11 Labs. Is what they're using.
Okay. So something that's going to be interesting.
It's okay.
Is going, if you listen to, I don't really do audiobooks, but they're obviously super popular. And And I if I was listening to an audiobook, I know that something that would be crucial for me would be feeling like the narrator I'm connected with the narrator. And
like they're the author or that they're
no, no, not the author, whoever's narrating the book. Because like some audiobooks, they'll get like John Malkovich or somebody to do the reading of the audiobook. But some people don't give a fuck about John Malkovich, or they think his voice is annoying, which I completely understand, even though I love John Malkovich's voice. So they could go in and get a celebrity to do 15-minute reading, and then have the audiobook narrated by that celebrity without them having to be contracted to read an entire book. And you might be able to scroll through a library and pick any person, any celebrity under the sun that you like think that they have an interesting voice to narrate the book that you want to read, or something like that.
Totally.
And like that's kind of like the downstream like tech thing that comes from the accessibility feature.
The point that I'm trying to make though is that so with iOS, it's interesting that it's integrated into iOS, but there's also tools right now where you can do 2-second sound bites, and it can register the like hertz that those waves are coming in at, and it can predict and project what your voice should sound like, even with 2 seconds of uploaded input.
Right.
So like, there's a possibility that in the not so distant future, within the next year or two, that you don't even have to do 15 minutes of training for it. You can do it in
what you should
2
do, Bri?
seconds.
You should play some of the audio clips that you made, which were AI fakes of us saying cancelable things.
Oh, I do have those. You want to hear them?
Yeah. Play those.
They're actually, the funny thing is they sound really real because I didn't even have to make the ones of you. They're not AI generated.
This is all going to be available on your iPhone once iOS 17 comes out. And how it works is you open up this app, you read along with randomized set of text prompts for about 15 minutes on your iPhone or your iPad, and it all the processing of it happens on your device right there, and the what was the other thing that I wanted to say about this, which I thought was really fucking neat? Oh well, it's gone.
I bet it was pretty slick though.
It was a pretty slick thing that I had to say there, but I guess I lost it. But yeah, pretty cool. So if you or anybody in your life is, like especially for someone who's dealing with something where you like anybody who has a recent diagnosis of ALS, like this, I would be fucking jacked up about this. This would be such a huge thing for me, because like, of course you would want, if you're going to have to rely on a machine to do your speaking for you, or at least like to vocalize the speaking that you do, it would be so much more personable to do it with some sort of synthesized version of your own voice than to have that robotic.
I mean, you think about like any of the things that people lose as a result of illness that are sort of like what we typically perceive as like foundational to us, to like something that makes us. Maybe it's your hair, maybe it's your voice, what like some type of feature.
Your taste.
I mean, maybe your breasts, like things that people lose as a result of surgeries and illnesses and stuff. Testicles. I mean, those are less prominent to the broader public, but
dude, my testicles make me who I am.
But like, it's the closer you can get to being able to preserve that, so that you can feel less like your illness is like taking something away from you.
Though also maybe you want a cool different voice, and maybe there's an option to like have some fucking cool voice. Like it's like if you lose your arm and you have
that's
a
what
cool
I'm saying, like the
prosthetic
audiobook
that,
thing, like you could be George Clooney.
Right. Or you could take
that would be weird though. Like if someone was like, I want to be Joe Biden. It'd be like, that fucking would be weird. or George Clooney or whoever fucking name. But if it's but what would be less weird, I think, and I'm probably someone wouldn't agree with me here. Less weird would be a character. Like I want to be Darth Vader.
But this is the customizable thing.
Right.
It's like the same reason why you change the wallpaper on your phone.
Yeah.
You know? Because like you go, oh, I really liked that, but now my
Yeah.
interest has waned, and I would like to update it with something that I'm currently into.
Yeah.
And you might be able to do that with your voice.
What's the wallpaper on your phone, Tay? What's the background on your phone?
Oh, it's Zaya.
Zaya? Okay.
been
And
Zaya for
what's
a
the
while.
background on your phone?
It's a mountain.
It's a bit of an outdated photo of Zaya.
Like how much do you think it tells of someone what their like background is? So like obviously do we like
I cycle
Taylor's a
through.
dad. That's it. You're a dad. You have a mountain, so it's like you like the outdoors.
Yep.
Yeah. Mine's just a bunch of pictures of oral thrush.
You like disease. you like mouth disease.
How often do you change your background?
Not
probably,
enough.
Probably like 3 times a year.
Yeah.
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 Speaking of oral,
Okay.
and I don't mean this oral. I'm talking this oral. There's a new world record for the widest mouth gape of a male.
Wow.
Look at this. This is a fucking kid. That's a bubbly can.
I can go pretty wide.
Dude,
Not that wide.
can you stick an entire apple into your mouth without touching it?
Yo, I have an apple
can
right
do-
now. Should we test?
Can
Test
you do,
it, yeah.
Can you do the
Dude, a water bottle. Holy fuck.
can you do the end of this?
Dude, the music though? Hold on, the music is killing me. Whoa, a baseball. Oh my god.
Can you do the end of this? the
I don't
bottom
know.
of that?
See if you can. Not even close. No. Yeah,
Not
close.
even close.
I mean,
That was
you
close.
got it around, but like, dude, this kid had space
No,
on
not
either end.
obviously not as
right?
close to the world record holder.
Can you do it? Tay has an apple now. Let's see. Try it.
If I put that in
Open
my
up.
mouth, I'd eat it.
He made it.
Open
look,
up, let's
he
see.
made it look really small, but it's not.
Dude, he made it look really small. Not even close, dude. Yeah.
Oh, my
Wow.
jaw hurts now.
I mean, I think I can. Yeah, not close. I guess.
You know what's funny? I know somebody who might have the world record for the smallest mouth gape.
Yeah, who's that?
Cameron Marcus. Yeah. That's it.
Dude,
That's really funny.
dude, we
He
used
does
to be like, obviously no one knows who Cameron Marcus is, but that doesn't matter. We used to be like, yo, Cameron, can you try to put your phone in your mouth, and like, so the width of a phone, which at the time used to be like,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a
You're holding
third-
an
like-
you're holding an iPhone Mac, like Pro Max.
and so he used to be the fucking iPhone used to be like
Little
2/3 as
tiny
wide,
thing.
Shit, dude.
and he'd go like this. He'd go.
Yeah.
It was so
It was
funny.
really small.
Well, let's move on to something a little bit more interesting. Bats.
My. This fruit paste is delicious. And the pottery is lovely.
It's made from guano.
Guano! That sounds so familiar. Bat droppings.
Guano is the chief resource of the Wachati. They use it to make many things in the village.
Yummy!
Dude,
Gotta love
I
it.
need
Gotta love it.
to watch Ace Ventura when nature
So
calls.
bats could
ASAP.
hold the secret to human inflammatory disease and aging, revealed in a groundbreaking new study. Scientists identify a modified protein which suppresses the inflammatory response in bats and could explain their incredible resilience. I got ChatGPT to write this whole thing here to make it a little bit more entertaining.
Okay.
So here we go. Here's a little story from some AI taking an article and making it its own. Hold on to your seats, folks,
Okay.
because I've got some groundbreaking news for you. Get this. Bats, those mystical creatures of the night, might just hold the key to slowing down the aging process and fighting off a whole bunch of inflammatory diseases, including the infamous COVID-19, heart disease, and arthritis.
Oh, that's funny because like they're also kind of they're going to give you the novel virus.
I know, right?
And then they're going to make it better.
But here's the
Yeah.
interesting part. And what I think they get to here is that they can give you COVID. But the interesting thing is those fuckers are just carrying around COVID and it's not doing nothing to them. And so that's what they're
Yes.
getting at here. They're going, there's a
Right.
fucking protein in there, in that bat, that allows them to just be carrying like, ungodly amounts of vicious viruses that don't affect them at all.
Yeah. I mean, but we also have that with a lot of diseases that animals get that we can't get.
Sure, right.
Not to like dismiss this. I'm sure.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck this. Let's move on to the next thing. Yeah, you heard that right. It's all thanks to a sneaky little protein that bats carry around, and scientists are buzzing with excitement about its potential. Now, bats are quite the remarkable critters. Despite being small mammals, they boast impressively long lifespans, with some of them partying it up for a whopping, how long do you think? This actually blew me away.
A bat?
Yeah.
18 years.
Yeah, okay. Like, let's think a dog, like Donut. I'll be lucky if Donut gets to 12, right? Like, that's pretty.
Bats and rats are not that dissimilar.
Right.
I think
How long does a rat live?
A rat
2 years.
I think
fucking wild.
I think 3 to 5 years is like a really long rat life.
My pet rat died when
I'm
he was
off.
2.
I was way off.
So I'm gonna say 5 or 6 years.
I thought bats I thought they lived a long time because like all of the like this like Count Dracula, vampire bats, those like they're like related to
That's
like
good
really
logic.
long lifespans.
That's interesting, Brian. I never thought about that. Did you actually think that, or did you just
I
like?
did think that, yeah. I
Huh.
thought
Wow.
I thought they
Fascinating.
lived like
Well,
I don't know 75 years.
Yeah,
or something.
bats live up to 234 years.
No, they
No,
don't.
no. They live for 40 years.
4?
40.
40?
40. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Like longer than I've been alive so far.
That's right.
That's crazy. But that's not all. These fearless flyers can cozy up with some of the most lethal viruses known to mankind, like SARS, Ebola, and Zika, without batting an eyelash. Hey, look out, ChatGPT. How's that even possible, you ask? Well, brace yourselves for the protein reveal. Picture this. A team of brilliant scientists have uncovered a modified version of a protein known as BAT-ASC2. BAT-ASC2. That acts like a superhero cape for bats. It swoops in and saves the day by suppressing their inflammatory response, giving them their incredible resilience. It's like their very own secret weapon against inflammation, the arch nemesis of good health. But wait, the plot thickens. These genius researchers decided to shake things up by genetically modifying laboratory mice to carry the bat-ass protein. And voila, the resulting bat-mouse chimera developed the same awesome inflammatory defense as bats themselves. This exciting discovery didn't stop there, my friends. The scientists also conducted experiments on human cells, and guess what? Similar magic happened. The cells became more resilient, proving that this protein has some serious therapeutic potential.
Interesting.
That is super fucking interesting.
You know, what's really interesting that this reminds me of, I came across a biomarker of mine by accident.
Just found it on the ground?
Just found it on the ground.
What does that mean?
Whoopsie. Oops. Found a biomarker.
Well, that speaks to this. I think it had something to do with when I got hit. I had some blood work done on something after a certain period of time. I think it was to check like maybe some blood markers as to like how my body was dealing with like building back my bones and blah 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 whatever. And one of the markers was an inflammatory biomarker where they basically check. There's a biomarker that basically gives you like an approximation for like your level of inflammation in your whole body. And I can't remember what the numbers were or what the biomarker was specifically, but it was, it's like, the average person, let's say, is between like 3 and 5. I'm just for the sake of just easy numbers. And so that was where they like wanted me to be. And my doctor was like, interesting. My doctor was like, it's really interesting. When we checked your inflammation numbers, it was like 0.1 or 0.2, where he was like, you have like zero inflammation in your body. And that was basically it. All he said, he just went, there's nothing much to that. I just wanted to like, let you know that's
So
like,
we think
that's
you're
like,
faking
that's
it.
like that's weird.
So we have the insurance company calling you in 15 minutes.
Anyway, he didn't say that it was bad. And he didn't really necessarily say that was like good. He just went, it's just crazy. You have like remarkably low levels of inflammation in your body, and that's just something that you don't see every day.
Is that like
interesting?
Could that be both a pro and a con in the sense that like
I don't know.
inflammation is good because it promotes
I'll tell you where
like,
inflammation's
healing, but
real good.
also, it is kind of what can lead to soreness and other
I,
things.
I
too.
know that inflammation definitely has inflammation for sure has like a very needed process for healing.
It's a big process for.
I was like, is he gonna let it go on the whole time?
No,
Anyway, I just thought that was really interesting. So like,
Yeah. So
I mean,
you're better than us.
I tend to heal fairly quickly. So obviously, I get inflammation when I get
Do you
hurt.
heal like cuts quickly? Like if I sliced open your like hand, do you heal like scabby heal quickly? Or like more like
well, I don't know.
like-
I'm not sure what would be a
How long did canker sores last in your mouth for?
not super long, maybe a few days, 2 days, maybe 3 days.
That'd be pretty short. I feel like mine lasts like a week plus.
I mean, if they're really stubborn, maybe a week, but like typically a couple days. I don't know. I'm just saying. Maybe I'll live to be 135.
Maybe you're a vampire.
Maybe, yeah, maybe you'll live more longer than a bat.
I hope so.
So that would be cool. Let's talk about our skin.
Okay,
We kind of just were
We were hanging out
sort of.
cuts.
the other day.
Healing?
Kira was saying something. Oh, she was kind of jokingly saying like, "Oh, like I'm gonna get Botox," and I was like, "Yeah, but don't."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I guess it's not for me to say to you, like, don't. Like, if that's something that you want to do, sure." I was like, "But why? Why would you want to get Botox?" She wasn't like, "I need Botox." She was sort of joking.
Maddie and I had the same conversation.
And she was like, "Well, I actually am starting to get these like wrinkles on my eyes." And I was like, "That's good." And she was like, "No, I don't want wrinkles." And I was like, "Yeah, but your wrinkles make you look beautiful. Like it would be again, it's not my place to say, but if I was to look at you and all your wrinkles were gone away, you wouldn't be you. You would be a different version of you that would look not real, not right, not like whatever." And she was like, "Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just like for me, like maybe I just like don't want them." I was like, "All right, well," but now I I read this article and I was like, I'm definitely gonna be like, please don't ever do Botox. And
Isn't it
I'll
basic-
probably just tell her I don't want you looking like I want this to happen.
Like it's frozen or something.
Oh, this. I got a Botox injection today.
Botox treatment.
Botox.
Talk about
They
movies
take a
this
big
from again?
needle and inject it into your forehead, and it freezes your face like this. I read it in a health magazine.
You know what's interesting though. So what I heard about Botox is that if you get it, you basically have to continue getting it.
Yeah.
Well,
Because-
yeah,
It's like when you
fades away.
start shaving your legs.
You don't
No,
need to continue to get it.
No, but I heard that it does.
I started shaving my legs for the cycling season.
and you'll never be able to stop.
I heard
No,
that
yeah, I will. I'm going to
because-
give it a break
so-
in the winter. I'll let it grow back. And
This is I'm sure I saw this on TikTok, but it goes away, yes, but also while the muscles are paralyzed or whatever, when they then go back, they're not strengthened because they're not having to engage, and so then they droop more.
okay.
So then you have to go back and get more Botox, and then it's like a
it's a
never
negative
ending
feedback loop.
Yeah, totally.
So
I mean, that's what I heard. I don't know.
That's what
this
you heard,
this
but we don't know if
article
it's true. That's
this article it talks about, so this popular cosmetic injection is linked to 12 reports of blindness.
It's super popular. I mean, that is a very low number considering the millions of people who are getting Botox.
So Marissa Batty, she grew up in what she calls the Kylie Jenner boom, when lips were big, skin was smooth, and facial symmetry was within reach for those who could afford it.
This sounds
she
like
booked-
a SoCal Summer of Love, like surfing movie intro.
She booked for
when
a
skin was smooth, lips were big,
And the swell was popping.
and the swell was thick.
yeah.
Did ChatGPT write that?
That's right. When the lips were big, skin was smooth, and facial symmetry was within reach for those who could afford it.
Ew.
No, it was actually written by whoever wrote this article. So she booked it for a dermal filler injection as soon as she turned 18. She said, "I was really insecure at the time and thought I needed to have big lips to feel and look beautiful," said Miss Batty. Now, here's the thing. When when I said what I said to Kira, because I'm sure I'm going to get some kind of blowback from someone who's like, don't fucking tell someone about like what they should and shouldn't do about for their body. Or
no, you know what?
Look,
you know what? That's bullshit because you guys are in a relationship together, and two people in a relationship together should be able to tell each other their honest opinion. And somebody out there has no fucking business telling you that.
Right. Right. So my point,
fuck that.
My point isn't even that. My point is, if like in the age of like fucking beauty filters and fucking, you know, like the Kylie Jenner era, like, dude, I don't want any fucking person I know to think that they are not fucking beautiful just the way that they are. And I don't want anybody in the world to be looking at their face on a fucking filter on a phone and think, you know what might actually help me is if I go and inject some fucking toxins into my face because it'll make me look more beautiful. Look, like if you want to do whatever the fuck you want to do to make yourself look better, go for it.
Or feel better.
But
or
you do not need anything. You are, I mean, and especially my fucking partner, she is gorgeous. Like, don't fuck that up.
Now here's the
don't ruin this for me.
Now here's the thing that comes up for me when you say that, especially when you started out and it was like, you know, you don't need to change it. So now I would agree that going and paying for a service that you are very likely to have to, like, you know, re-up a lot over time. I think that is probably across the line of something that somebody should feel like they need to do.
Yeah, dude, don't get me wrong. There's a massive difference between Botox and getting your fucking hair dyed and cut. Like, that is, I mean, I don't know, sure. I'm sure someone could be like, getting hair dye actually is probably, like, you know, there's toxins in hair dye. Sure, whatever the fuck. But you're not taking hair dye and sticking it into your fucking face.
But that's what I mean is, like, where is that line? Because we all do stuff that shapes our appearance and things. Like, we all do things. Like you said, like I was going to bring that up. I shaved my legs for cycling season. Yeah. There's really no functional benefit.
I'm sure, like, I'm sure, like, on the molecular, like, I'm sure on the quantum level, you are a little faster.
I'm a little of it. I am probably just a touch faster, but it's a vanity thing, dude. I fucking like the way my legs look when I'm spending 20 hours a week on my bike, looking down at my fucking calf muscles.
I prefer the troglodyte look, but yeah, sure.
Because I'm a hairy fuck.
Even on our faces.
I prefer the look where I thought maybe this guy just got down out of a tree for the first time. He evolved a little late. But yeah, whatever. To each their own. I'm not here to fucking judge, dude.
But we all make decisions to, like, augment our appearance. Like, you have a mustache, you have a beard, I have a shaved face. You know, we could all do different things to make our appearances look different. It's just, like, my problem is when there's somebody creates a business around making you feel like you have to do this thing to look, quote unquote, good.
Or someone like the Jenners blow the fuck up, and it's like, and they're paying fucking insane amounts of money to have insane amounts of work done publicly. Like, it's not like a fucking secret. Like, they are the fucking, like, if USADA was testing for fucking plastic surgeries, that family would be failing every single test.
While we're going hard in the paint here, I guess, for a second,
fuck it, let's fucking go.
I'll be honest and say how I feel about it. I just don't think it looks good either.
Yeah, you look like a lizard.
It does. It does look strange.
And I personally think that
we're gonna get so much hate.
I just generally think that, like, if I had to guess, I think generally guys don't think it looks good. Like, the conversations that we have with our guy friends.
But regardless, I mean, no, I think that's wrong, because I think some people are fucking really into it.
Totally.
So a lot of people are fucking really into it.
I think that's kind of like an in your bubble sort of thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very popular, I mean, dude, there's a reason why when you open up Snapchat, like, those beauty filters look the way they fucking do.
And it's a growing trend among men as well.
Yes, dude, a big time. Yeah, for sure.
It's
regardless, whatever, digging this hole, we're going to dig ourselves back out. To each their own. If you want to get fucking work done up the wazoo, go for it. Absolutely go for it.
But I guess the reason you brought this up is because it might make you blind.
Yeah, go for it. But you could go blind.
The point is it's okay to wear costumes. Like if wearing costumes makes you feel better in public, that's fine. But you're wearing a costume.
I mean, this kind of, okay, sort of. Yeah, I guess you kind of put it that way.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's like wearing.
I just want to. I do feel.
Don't get Botox. Right? You don't need it. You're beautiful. I love you.
I do feel bad. I do feel bad. I feel bad saying that, even though at the same time I fully believe it. You know what I mean? Like because the last thing I want is somebody listening to this who does that regularly, feeling bad about themselves.
No,
I don't want that. I don't want that at all.
And again, I don't like. I know that what we've said probably comes across that way, but I'm just speaking for myself here. Brian, you can say whatever the fuck you want. I'm speaking about a conversation that I had with my girlfriend where I said, the last thing I ever want is for you to ever feel insecure about the way that you look so that you have to go do something like this, because in my eyes and in everybody else's eyes around us, the shared reality is that you are stunningly beautiful and you don't need to do this thing that outside fucking influences are likely pressuring you to do without you even fucking noticing it, because it's not necessary. If she decides I'm going to go do it, I'm going to go, all right, cool. Like I'm fucking like rooting for you.
I was saying
just
what
don't
you
go
were saying
blind like this person, Marissa Batty, who was insecure at the time at 18. She got this injection. Now she's 26 and she knows she's learned the importance of knowing what can go wrong. So here's the other thing. If you're going to do this, do your fucking research. About 1 year ago, she suffered a vascular occlusion. Meaning filler blocked a blood vessel. It's rare and it can happen at the hands of even experienced injectors, but left untreated, it can lead to necrosis, which is the death of affected skin tissue. There are complications that do come along with these procedures, Miss Batty said. That's why you should always walk into a clinic very aware that these things can happen, and you have to put a lot of thought in before actually doing these procedures. Registered nurse and cosmetic injector Larissa Danon resolved Miss Batty's occlusion, which happened at another clinic, by dissolving the filler. She's worried not enough injectors have training and knowledge to identify and resolve complications. Quote, there's a lot of junior injectors coming through now who are not very interested in the scary side of things. They just want the glamorous injectable training and the trips and the conferences, yada, yada, yada.
It's a big industry
booming industry.
It's a big industry for nurses working in hospitals to leave and start doing
totally
100%.
The other thing is, I don't like Taylor, you were saying it's a growing trend in men as well. And when I speak about this, I'm not speaking like projecting my opinion on women who do this. I'm projecting like my opinion as somebody who was a guy who went to tanning salons as a teenager.
Yeah. And now look at you. Look what that did to you.
But the thing is,
you look like shit.
I feel like I feel the thing that makes me so emotionally worked up about it is the fact that I feel like the industry preys on emotionally vulnerable people. And the same with tanning is why did I go tanning when I was a kid? Because I hoped that having darker complexion would make me more attractive to girls.
Yeah, because you're short. You got that.
Short.
Totally.
There's
tons of it. And I know you're
joking. You're looking tall, dark, handsome. You're like, fuck, I'm not tall, but I could be dark and handsome.
Totally. And it plays on those insecurities. Yeah. And then you end up paying money to look a certain way that you don't even, speaking to tanning salons specifically, I didn't look tanned. I looked orange. Yeah. And I had a Playboy bunny sticker imprint from where I was checking to see how much my tan was progressing.
No, you didn't.
He did, but that was that was the little 2x2 centimeter piece of bread that
you don't want to admit that to the world.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? That was the part of me that was screaming to get out at that time.
I feel like the pendulum always swings, and Brad, just so you don't feel the need to go tanning after this conversation. I think there will be a time where tall, dark, and handsome will shift to short, pale, and ugly.
Not in my lifetime.
Yeah. So don't worry. Your time's coming. Hey, speaking of pale and ugly,
Okay.
this is that it has nothing to do with this.
Great transitions.
Do you guys? This kind of blew my mind that this was a study, because I thought the jury was out. I thought, is the jury still out? How does that work? If the jury's still out, did we figure it out? Or if the jury's out, are they done their work?
No,
Did they come to a
finished.
decision?
No, the jury is out.
The jury's out.
The jury is out, meaning
There's no decision.
they're out there trying to figure it out.
The jury is still out means they haven't. Okay, so
That's right.
so I thought the jury was done.
If the verdict is in,
Okay,
the
I thought
jury has come to
The
a
jury,
decision.
I
the
thought
jury is out and gone.
See, what I thought was the verdict was in, and the jury was done being out, and they came in and they gave the verdict. Okay,
Actually,
so,
the jury is no.
but the jury is not the. So I don't know what.
Where the fuck is the jury?
So okay, I thought the verdict was in long ago about this,
Okay.
but it turns out not so much.
The
The
jury's
jury's
out.
still out. Probably, I don't know. Marijuana is not good for pregnant people. They just found out.
Yeah.
Okay, this kind of blows my mind. I just thought, like, you don't drink when you're pregnant. Like, we all know that. That's super no bueno for a baby.
Yeah.
But I thought weed was the same thing. I thought marijuana was the same thing.
Although I will say the thing about drinking and being pregnant is that, like, I know from my experience.
If you do it
with
in
Kyla,
little bits, you get your baby tolerated to it.
Yeah, I know that in my experience with Kyla, she was like, she was of the feeling, at least in the headspace of, and I'm sure that there's thousands of people out there, millions of people out there that feel that are the same, where it was like, I can't have a sip of alcohol, and like that is like, that's also not true at all. Like, having a drink, like every now and again,
like a
is going
a half
to be,
glass of wine.
and if you're
Is the jury in on that?
I think the jury is quite in on that.
The jury's in, meaning the verdict
No,
has been
so
set.
this is the thing. It's
the jury's not out.
It's the same thing as being like, as whoever fucking says don't use Q-tips. People say don't use Q-tips because they go, you know what? Instead of telling people how to not jam their fucking brain with a Q-tip, let's just say not use it.
I saw a guy the other day take a Q-tip and put it in a power drill and he drilled it.
Yeah, probably.
And he was like, they're really clean now.
I've done
So the thing is that some things are just easier to say. It's just easier to say, bar none, don't do it, rather than go, let's give them the nuance. Because if you give the nuance, at least from the scientific community's perspective,
Right.
there's the chance that people don't hear the nuance and just go, I can drink when I'm pregnant, and go and get fucking wasted.
Right.
So obviously that. So the thing that, when you brought that up yesterday about the marijuana thing,
Yeah. Which I'll get to it. There's some specific stuff in there.
is like, it's not a surprise to me. Now, yes, it seems obvious. It's like, hey, don't smoke weed when you're
smoking
pregnant.
though.
And that's
Or-
the thing. Is like, well, there's two things. Weed's still only legal in there it is, rip the bong. Weed's only been legal in is still only legal in certain oh my god, is that real? Weed's only legal in I don't know, like half the states in the US. It's only been legal in Canada for since what, 2017,
yeah.
So
October.
like the amount of time that we've had an open field to do research is like really short.
Yeah.
So it's no surprise that we don't have much concrete evidence,
Yeah.
scientific evidence that it's not good for pregnancy. But also the thing is, like, when you think of weed, I think most people's mind goes to smoking.
Yeah. But there's many different ways to ingest weed.
Right. So it's really like,
I ingested weed last night with some very delicious candy.
so we're really talking about the effect of THC in the
Yeah,
body
yeah,
on pregnancy,
yeah.
not smoking. I think that's obvious. That's obvious that we know.
So
Smoke 2 joints at night.
this study, they basically, so this article here goes on to say, if you're pregnant and use any form of cannabis product, you might want to stop. And they say any form of cannabis product. That's the takeaway from a new study that found a significant health impact of marijuana use on fetal development as early as the beginning of pregnancy. Quote, that's why these findings were especially important. People can often be well into the first trimester and don't even know that they're pregnant. said the lead author, Beth Bailey, professor of psychology and director of population health research at the College of Medicine at Central Michigan University in Mount Pleasant. Too many words. Just cut it down to one place. Quote, our study drills down to look very specifically at a specific time point in pregnancy, the first trimester. We found a significant decrease in birth weight of 154 grams. In terms of pounds, it's about a third of a pound, she said. Now, while 1/3 of a pound may not seem to be much, such slight decreases in weight have been linked to health problems as children grow, Bailey said. Quote, low birth weight is one of the strongest predictors of a child's health and development long term. These kids are more prone to developmental delays, higher rates of ADHD, learning disabilities, and have higher rates of emotional problems. If marijuana exposure continued during the rest of the pregnancy, birth weight dropped by another 31 grams, 0.07 pounds, the study found. In addition, the head circumference of the newborn was reduced if marijuana use continued throughout the pregnancy. Smaller head circumference could be a sign the brain didn't develop properly during pregnancy. Quote, even when pregnant people stopped using marijuana by the third trimester, the babies were born with a smaller head circumference of about 1 centimeter, Bailey said. What we are telling women is that it's not an absolute certainty that your baby's growth will be impacted if you are using marijuana, but we do know that you are substantially higher risk for that outcome. While reducing levels of marijuana consumption during pregnancy is beneficial, it may not be enough to protect the developing baby, Bailey said, because scientists do not yet have the research data to see whether there is any level of marijuana use that does not cause fetal harm. The safest resource, quote, my advice to women is to avoid using marijuana at all during pregnancy, and if possible, stop using prior to becoming pregnant, Bailey said. The study published Tuesday in the journal Frontiers in Pediatrics used data from medical records of 109 pregnant people who delivered at an obstetrics clinic in Central Michigan's College of Medicine. The data were compared with the data of 171 people who did not use marijuana and served as the control group. Pregnant people who used marijuana were significantly younger, more likely to be single and covered by Medicaid, and less likely to have an education beyond high school than those who did not use marijuana. While the study numbers were small, the research was robust because the use of marijuana was verified via urine tests, said Brenna Moore, an assistant professor of epidemiology at the Colorado School of Public Health in Aurora. She was not involved in the study. So yeah, more pregnant people are actually using weed these days. It's on the rise, and that's due to the legalization and I think the different like methods of which you can ingest THC.
Did they say this? Sorry if I missed that. Did they say this the study size? Like how many participants?
It was quite small. So it was 109 compared with the data of 117 or 171.
I mean, these studies are just going to grow and like become the population size become more robust because it's like something that we've had very limited time where it was you could do studies on cannabis and THC and stuff before it was legal, but like it was just way harder. Like the red tape. I remember having a conversation with a buddy of ours, Lou Martin, who at the time was in med school, and it was in 2017 or 2018, and I was like, "What do you think is going to be like? What do you think the effect is going to be on with weed becoming legal?" Like I asked that in like the broadest sense. And he was like, I think the biggest impact is going to be on scientific research. Like the door has basically been closed. Yeah. Essentially, like you'd have to go through so much red tape to get a study approved to study THC and cannabis.
Yeah. We're going to see that too with psychedelics, you know?
Yeah. I just wanted to say before we move on, because I know that what I said at the beginning there, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't just blowing fucking smoke because that's
right. Because on this podcast, we do bring you facts, and there's nothing but it.
Yeah,
no
on the alcohol front.
The jury is out on that.
So this is
they're in.
They're in.
This is an article from Scientific American from 2012. They're talking about a study of
too long ago.
That's not true. A new study. It was
not long enough.
a study of 1,600 Danish 5-year-old children shows that non-teetotaler moms can breathe a sigh of relief. So kids whose mothers had up to 8 drinks a week were just as smart as their peers born to abstaining moms. So at first they were talking about people who were drinking because they didn't know that they were pregnant. So like they didn't know they were pregnant yet. So they were like, whatever their normal alcohol consumption was for that individual kind of continued. And so like below a threshold of like, I think like 8 drinks a week or more, that was essentially, there was no difference found. And then they said heavier drinking during pregnancy does handicap children. Some previous reports had suggested that even a little daily alcohol could potentially harm the child. Intelligence, attention, and executive functions such as planning and reasoning are often affected in children of alcohol abusing mothers, says lead researcher Ulrich Kasmodel of the University of Denmark. Therefore, he and his colleagues expected to be able to detect the effects of small amounts of alcohol on these specific abilities, he says. Yet no such changes emerged when the researchers put the kids to these tasks. The results appeared in the June issue of an International Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology. Expecting moms can relax, it appears, and have a drink every now and then.
Do Danish love drinking?
Did
you guys ever see Another Round?
Yeah, we watched Another Round.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Are the Danish just like big drinkers? They are in that movie.
I don't know.
In that movie, they are.
In that movie, they
particularly
really
that
love
group
drinking.
of friends.
That movie is specifically about drinking.
I mean, and it was in
And how you
Danish. It was
become
called binge drinking.
And how you become a
That's the
better
name of
Oh,
it.
teacher.
really?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
why do we call it Another Round?
They do that all the
they
time.
just gave it a
and
different English title?
all the time. Yeah, that happens pretty much with every foreign film.
That's cool that article says that, and it says, I like how it says, relax, like moms, you can have that drink if you want. But could you imagine socially being in like a restaurant and seeing a pregnant woman having
Drinking
a glass of
wine?
See, but this
is
the issue. Like Kyla went out a couple weekends ago, and she was like, so Kyla and I are fucking. I have no idea if she's even cool with me saying this publicly, but we're like in the process of gearing up for to have an embryo transfer, and we're also trying naturally in the waiting period up until that point.
They're gonna try. You guys are gonna try to do it like once a year for the next 6 years, right? Like you guys just want like 7 babies
As
as fast as possible.
Yeah, we want to see how many kids we can fit into our 700
You
square
want a
foot
cycling team.
apartment.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's right.
You want a
And-
Peloton?
And so Kyla was like,
Is that what that's called?
that is what it's called. Yeah,
Just a Peloton of kids.
Peloton.
A Peloton of children.
And she was
and
really
put them in front of Tay so he doesn't have to do as much work.
That's
You
right.
Take all the
Especially as he
wind.
gets
That's right.
older.
And then when it gets close to the end of the finish line, he goes, "See ya, fuckers."
Dude, I'm so glad that cycling tactics are like seeping into your brain. So she was really
fucking butt darts.
she was stressed out about going out and having a couple of drinks.
Yeah.
She's not pregnant currently, but alcohol can have like limiting effects on trying to become pregnant as well. So she was like really stressed out about that, and I went, Kyle, honestly, I think that the stress that you are feeling about drinking is worse than having 1 or 2 drinks.
Yeah.
Like so either don't and relax, or do and relax. The relaxation of just making a decision and being cool with whatever you decide is going to be far more beneficial than the stress response that you're getting from thinking about it.
Then she just downs an entire quart of rum.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And then she was no bones.
Speaking of bones, let's talk about sex in space. Scientists are now issuing warnings about it.
I mean, there's only so many people that need to be warned.
Yeah. Well, actually, a lot of people are going to have to be warned.
That's right, because it's space tourism.
So this is coming from Roshin. Thank you, producer of the week. You got it. Bam. Easy as that. Come to our Discord and you can have one too. So as the space tourism industry grows, so too do concerns about the potential for sex and even conception in microgravity. In a new paper, researchers at the United Kingdom's Cranfield University questioned whether the space tourism industry has even begun grappling with the concept of customers potentially fucking and boning and sucking and fucking and conceiving children in space, which is a big deal given the growing body of evidence suggesting that microgravity and radiation could seriously fuck up a fetus.
Dude, no.
What do you
joke.
guys think space sex looks like?
do you think it looks like?
You need to have that.
It's probably more
the
challenging.
the like bungee cords. We talked about this
Yeah, well, I always imagine it like
because you
this. It
can't
looks like this.
You can't thrust or push off.
It's gonna be like this is like the future of space.
Wait,
I pray you
is
allow
this
me a
Total
few
Recall?
moments to
What is this?
coordinate my seldom used reproductive sequences.
Yeah, sure.
Is that the girl from Waterboy?
Yeah.
What movie is this?
Space Truckers?
How did you find this?
it's an old fucked up comedy.
We're 100% operational, my dear.
Yeah, 100% operational, my dear.
So while the idea of getting it on in zero gravity sounds exciting, and has already been the topic of ample futurism speculation, it's an eventuality that private space tourism companies haven't yet given much thought to, at least in a public capacity. Quote, it's unrealistic to assume all future space tourists will abstain from sexual activities. Duh.
Dude, the 1,000 Mile High Club?
I mean, that's if I went to space, that would be one of the first things I'd be trying to do.
Do you think they're really not? They say they're not thinking about it publicly, or talking about it publicly. But do you think privately they're just talking about it all the time?
Dude,
These
it's the
companies?
same way that airlines are definitely talking about it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, right. But they're not like making a product
yeah.
to service that.
They're not making statements about it.
They're not like, hey, this economy class flight from Halifax to Toronto is just for people who are looking to fuck.
Yeah. While no space-age love children have been born yet, there's a non-zero chance that any fetuses conceived in microgravity and the ionizing radiation of space could suffer even worse outcomes than the known ill effects of that environment on fully developed human adults. Having no preparation for space conception is a major issue that appeals to pose several risks, the Cranfield statement notes, including, quote, those of a biological nature such as embryo developmental risks, not to mention the legal quagmires it could welcome. While the private space tourism industry hasn't yet begun dealing with the probability of space sex and its reproductive outcomes, NASA definitely has, and on the books. It bars astronauts from getting down in space because of the potentially detrimental effects that microgravity and radiation could have on fetuses.
But what if they just use protection?
Well, they're not. They're just going, nope. No,
The best form of
that's right.
protection is abstinence.
That's right. Amen. Though there have been limited and somewhat successful studies looking at the reproduction of invertebrates, insects, and amphibians in space, when it comes to mammals, there's been no dice. Considering how huge an outstanding question mark there is when it comes to space reproduction, it makes sense why NASA would ban it. Though, of course, not all types of sex can even result in conception. There's other types of sex. I'll never stop. I'll never be able to stop playing that fucking song.
Wait. I'm curious why they haven't had mammals have sex in space.
Yeah,
Like, why don't
they have
like
monkeys?
or like
Well, I don't think
even like a rabbit or a rat?
Yeah, we've definitely. Yeah, I don't know. Like,
That seems
we
crazy.
had to have had like mice up there and shit.
Hasn't there been like cats on the ISS?
I don't know about cats. But
feel like
there
they
was
had Google it.
there was Laika, that dog.
There's a dog.
God rest his soul. He never made it. Yeah, dude. Did you not know that?
He never made it to the space station?
No,
Never
dude,
made it
guys.
off it.
Laika was sent in space before Yuri Gagarin, and just died up in a capsule. And then they were like, "The fucking dog did it. Send up Yuri." And he was like, "Holy shit, that dog didn't come back."
Interesting to choose a dog.
Yeah,
Just in terms of like, I mean, obviously,
it's pretty sad.
any animal.
They sent a
dying kinda
monkey.
sucks,
Dude, there
but-
has-
They also
There
sent a
has
monkey.
been a cat in space. Look.
Really? Oh yeah, look at that. That's fucking yeah.
That's really
yeah.
cute.
You better put that up on the screen there so everyone can see it.
Yeah, well,
All told, unplanned space pregnancy or uncontrolled human conception, as the Cranfield researchers put it, seems like a pretty big gamble. And as the green paper notes, there appears to be no mitigation of the risks surrounding it in the burgeoning space tourism industry. Eventually, private space companies are going to have to come up with guidelines for safe sex in space, because if nothing else, we can count on humans to screw each other one way or another. Hey, look out.
I'd be really curious because the radiation is sort of like it's sort of an obvious thing.
Yeah.
But the more interesting thing to me is the gravity piece. Like what?
That's why you need bungee cords.
What is happening? No. Like
you mean internally?
Like internally, like when an egg is
like,
fertilized.
do you think swimmers aren't going to be able to get to the egg?
Well, I don't know.
Microgravity?
I have no idea. I mean, like I just don't know much about the function. Well, we're going to talk to Mike. We're going to be talking to Mike Ripley soon for another production that we're working on.
Yeah.
And so we can ask him what he thinks.
He's a OBGYN.
Isn't there like muscles that like sort of like push it into the right direction or like guide it?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like your insides are just so compact that like nothing's really floating around in there.
Right. It's not like just floating in space.
Yeah.
It's
like moving along like membrane walls and
like when you eat food, I don't think your digestion is different in space. Like I think it just goes through the motions. You poop the poop.
Well, there's like
once the poop comes out of your butthole,
then
that's because
it's
there's like
not normal because the poop is now floating by your face.
There's a very mechanical, like your digestive system is a very mechanical process. There's like it's like a fucking factory down there that's like.
You don't think the reproductive bits are factory?
I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying I don't know that they are.
Well, you wouldn't know because you cheated,
guys.
You did the cheat way,
guys. Don't you think that astronauts have to have a wank though?
Oh, dude, 100%.
Right,
and if they don't, they're gonna have a nocturnal emission.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
Well, some of them probably won't. Some of them won't, but some of them will.
But so they must. Is that like scheduled? Or like how did they just find their own time to do that?
Everything is scheduled.
Right. That's what I mean. So like, do you think
it's on the schedule? It says like Chris Hadfield, jerk off now. Jerk off 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But it must, right? Like
Chris is like, I can do it in one.
Because it's not like they go
he can
into
do everything.
He's efficient.
He's efficient.
They don't like go into a bathroom and then have their alone time and like get.
No, they do it in their sleeping bag.
Right. Right.
They just cover their sleeping bag in space cum.
No.
Yeah, dude.
No.
How do you think it happens? How do you like?
Well,
that's how you think it happens. How do you think it happens?
Yeah, no, I guess they do. I guess they do have to like they have to do it in the vacuum. They got to like come in the vacuum.
Right.
Yeah.
They must have to, right?
Or they come into
there's a garbage bin, I'm sure.
No, there's no garbage bin, dude.
Just
no. Everything's vacuumed.
Yeah, but everything must go into something and then get vacuumed.
No. What I mean is not the vacuum of space. I mean there's like when they pee, they stick their dick in a vacuum.
Oh,
when they poop, they stick their asshole on a vacuum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then they put it in the vacuum,
like the vacuum that we have here, like that. Like it's
a
like
special NASA.
It's like
a special NASA vacuum.
Do you think
it's like it's at least a Dyson?
Do you think they're
it's a Dyson shit vacuum?
Do you think that they are masturbating into the urination vacuum cleaner? Or?
Yeah. I think they have to because they can't have spunk floating around, fucking clogging up the beakers and shit.
Well, here's a question: is spunk sticky in space?
Well, yeah, it must
yeah.
be,
If
right?
you touch it, yeah.
But gravity, though.
Man, fuck, I don't know. Guys.
How does that work?
I don't know. If anybody out there knows, let us know. All right, that's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed that. This was a really silly episode. And if you have hate mail, letters@sickboypodcast.com. You can just send it there. And hey, if you want to be a part of the show, like Rasheen was, Discord, click the link in the bio. Come say hi. We'll have a chat. It'll be fun. Leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Leave a rating on Spotify mobile app. We hope you enjoyed it. Come watch us over on YouTube because you can see us and see the videos and see the clips and yada, yada, whatever. I said your part.
Jared said the hate mail part. If you got hate mail, if you want to hate on us for what we said about Botox, then letters at sickboypodcast.com. And if you want to be on the show, go to sickboypodcast.com and fill out the guest form. And if you know somebody who can school us scientifically from like a professional perspective on anything that we say that is wrong on the show, which is
a lot,
very rare,
then fill out the form and nominate somebody to be on the show.
And if you feel like you need to go to therapy, you can find a good therapist at psychologytoday.com. And thanks, as always, to Jeff Lonis, our manager, and to Rich O'Coin, who does the theme music.
That is it for this week.
I'm Brian.
I'm Taylor.
And I'm Jeremy, and this is Sick Boy.